Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Lucid. I'm joined by Maryland.
Howdy, gamers.
We are now on turn 112, and we are deep, deep,
112.
deep, 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 deep in the late game.
Yes.
Multiple Armageddons have happened. Astral Corruption's been up. Arcane Nexus has been up. I mean, we have had all of the things happening. And I think the biggest news in terms of the game state is Vanheim and Ashdod had just been mercilessly beating each other. And for the most part, it had been Ashdod beating Vanheim.
That's
But
correct.
a couple turns ago, Vanheim turned it around, slapped Ashdod on the ass, and said, "Get out of here."
Wasn't it just last turn or the last two
I think it
turns kind of thing,
was
right?
2 turns ago, maybe, or something. But it was a while since we recorded that, so it's a little foggy in our heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, that brought Ashdod back to the negotiating table, and they agreed to end the violence, end the elf on giant violence, and instead attack wholeheartedly the forces of nature and to
Yeah.
turn on
Try
Pangaea.
to try to stop this win. Try to
Right,
stop the penis broadcasting system.
right. The penis broadcasting system must be taken down.
I love that one.
Yeah,
PNS broadcast.
PNS.
That's the best name I've seen in a game.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think
Pangaea
that's
Network Services or something.
yeah. I think that's the best rename I've seen anybody do ever.
Yeah,
I've seen some good ones in the past, but that one
it
that
was
one
real
takes the
good.
case.
So they've agreed to do this, but the catch on all of that is that it's a really long non-aggression pact. They had a nap 6 unless there's like a throne rush happening. So
Right, and
we're not going to
at no
see
point,
elf on dryad, action until like I think still 5 more turns.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, so that's a pretty significant factor. And of course, Sai has been very careful as Pangaea to be sure he doesn't reach that threshold of
Right.
what was it? He had to own 6 thrones.
Right.
Have claimed and no owned, like have
Right.
control over it. He didn't
Right.
have to have them claimed, and that would have instantly canceled the NAP. And he's been very careful not to grab those last few.
Yeah, I think, it's almost though a silver lining. There's a long cooldown because these two guys, Ashdod and Vanheim, are so beat up after fighting each other that they almost need it. But now
Yeah,
that said, Ashdod is fighting Pangaea, as we can see from this screen.
can we ever?
So let's start off. You want to read the Ashdod message?
Sure. Messenger from Ashdod. Ever played a zombie or tower defense game? Starting to feel like that, friends. Yes, whack-a-mole, really. Pan's resources feel endless, so I'm really just kind of waiting for him to make a real push or for Pelagia to surgically slice him up. I heard there was a nice one last turn on the Earth Throne with Ravenous Swarm. Pan's shift toward trying to kill my immortals with lifelong protection golems means I'm doing the same with my raids now. Got one last turn. Unfortunately, Wraith Lords are far more expensive than vampires, especially with the Pan discount. I'll have to start using Shade Mail Scouts with WLs, uh, WLs.
Wraith Lords.
Oh, along with the Wraith Lords.
Right.
Okay. To bring
To sneak them out. Yeah.
right. Okay. My inexperience with late game is probably showing. He probably has the escalation of next most efficient moves already mapped out. Will I learn from getting bonked? Vampire raids probably turn into more golem raids now to counter my soul slay attempts. He's just trying to slowly bleed me out. Waiting for my counters to get more feeble before escalating or going ultra efficient to mop up. I can predict most of his province moves, but the resource disparity is being felt. A bit annoyed that my tart with the sword of many colors got sniped so easily. He had like 3 more enticing things to magic phase onto. Thought that was safe. Pan may have just unluckily been shifting quality troops south towards Van when that NAP ends. But more likely, he just has the resources to do so. The artifact exists in-game this turn, so he looted it on that vampire lord.
Oh.
Frown. I gotta There we are. I gotta make my screen a little bigger.
Okay.
That was a little hard to read. There we go. That's better.
You got this?
Yeah. Going to be sending a diseased demon at the vamp lord that should be holding the artifact. I've moved my Chayat and Arrow from my Mechlin army just south of my cap last turn. Arrow? Is that a typo or is Arrow the right?
Um, this is
I'm not
probably a
sure what that is.
province. Oh, no, arrows. That's one of the units he gets. I think it's the nature mage that Ashdod
Okay.
gets. Yeah.
Okay, right. So surprise hopefully still on my side. Sorry, writing and toggling to see province numbers is a badly needed Dominion's
That's
feature.
true.
Based on how Pan is soft pushing into me, I think he's trying to surround the throne of misfortune to isolate it from easy magic phase reinforcement. Yeah, for me, I don't write messages in game often, but if I need to do something like that, I open 2 instances.
Yeah, you can also do Control C, and that'll now copy your message, and then you can
Right.
just Control V it back in later. So
Yeah, there you go. I have an air dome on all my thrones, so I can't let that happen. Thus, I'm risking the Chayat Arrow with a small army at the fort north of the Misfortune Throne. He's sending a bunch of pans that way. I'm Ghost Ridering the pans, so they spend gems, assuming they all move onto that fort. I'm evacuating most of Micklin area, leaving my Adons to preach up some Dominion before heading out, as they have lifelong protections and can probably handle some Dryad attention. Okay.
oh, that's kind of sad though, because it's like he had to fight so hard. Like he did so much damage to Vanheim to get the Micklin area, and now if he's just going to be kind of pulling back from it, you know.
And Pangaea getting those resources easily is not a great result for the game state.
I think too, like he was talking here about Pangaea making moves for his thrones and like trying to isolate them, and I think he's doing it. But I think Sai and I think there's just things like I can tell things Sai has said. Like he and I think about the game in pretty similar ways. And one of the things that he's doing is like he's doing this light rating and putting pressure and maybe moving for thrones, but he's really playing the econ game. Like he's just going to outrage you and slowly bleed you and try to kill your counter raiders and do that. Like he's not really making like he's definitely thinking about thrones, but he's really just like slowly trying to bleed out Ashdod.
Yeah, I agree.
Taking efficient trades, doing those sort of things.
I agree. Because he can. He's so much bigger than everybody else. And we're really going to want to.
And he's a really good player, right? So Sai is going to trade resources really well. And that's what he's kind of leveraging here. It's like, I'm just going to trade efficiently with you.
Yeah.
And let's go to Pelagia. So there's no guarantee if Pan will try to reinforce, vortex, or retreat the decapitated coastal army. So for this turn, I will be lazy, seeking just a magic duel. Too bad my Astral 3 didn't get returning triggered last turn, so now I have to use an Astral 2. Again, real life stuff in the way, so just doing a few other things like a retreat per the peace treaty with Vanheim, and above all, saving for a Nexus attempt. And that's good he's mentioning that here, because this is his way. This is also, I think, good, like really good of Arco, because like he's certainly like down and out a bit, but he's not just playing Kingmaker, right? He's still angling for the whatever percent chance that he wins, and the whatever percent chance that he wins involves him putting Nexus back up. So,
and that's been a refreshing feature of this game is, man, everybody has played to the very end.
Right.
I mean, my favorite is Ubar.
Oh, you mean wait, Ubar? We didn't have an Ubar.
The calling, no, but not Ubar. And the never-ending calling of the god.
Right? Yeah. Mount Tartarus or whatever one. With the.
Yeah. I love that one.
All right, so who should we look at first? You think we have basically just two's fighting Pangaea, so it's Ashdod, Pelagia, and Ulm, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe see if Ulm is holding.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Because I think if Ulm completely collapses, it's game. I think that's enough thrones in Ulm to finish game, or very close to it, isn't it?
Very close. Okay, so he has a Jade Sorceress poke their head up and get sniped before she can retreat back in.
Yeah.
We're just gonna see. We got a Scout Ping, Vampire Lords. I think this is like the really hard thing for Ulm is like it's the variety
Yeah.
of the threat vectors. Like, you plan something that's gonna like counter a vampire lord.
Yeah, you poke your nose out. Well, he patrolled that dryad,
Yeah.
so that's not a bad thing. But
Is it not gonna let me pull
chances
this
are
battle up?
there's
Oh,
isn't.
there it
I
goes.
don't think he killed it.
So this is, I think, the last Ulmish army. There might be one more.
Yeah, it's one of the few remaining of significance,
Yeah, it's got some
and
demon knights.
there's a lot of unkilly stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I
he's got the
mean,
demon knights, but yeah, I mean, flail guys can be killy, but late game
well,
they're not.
I meant the thralls and the corpse men,
Right.
and the basic long dead,
Yeah.
and then mechanical men aren't very killy.
Oh, he's got who's this bone reader here? Okay, it's an earth random. I'm wondering if he has an a death air bone reader. I don't see, I think he only has two. I was wondering if he's doing wailing winds.
That would be pretty lucky.
Yeah. So Pangaea scouted this army. He knows what's here. Oh no, there's another. So there's an army here too. So
Oh yeah,
there's two Ulmish armies. I think the army down here is not. I think it's dead. And there's
so.
chaff over here. This doesn't count. These are the last two Ulmish armies. So he doesn't.
It's a rough situation. Yeah, I mean, if he pokes his head out too much, if he patrols, he risks being smashed.
Right.
Gem burns drop on him, and then everything else. But if he just sits and hides in his forts, well, he will slowly lose as well.
Yeah, I what I'm wondering though is there anything nearby that can kill these big armies? And I don't see, I mean, like if he moves these armies out, like there's stuff that can get to, like these storm demons could maybe get back over here, but I don't think Pan has really much that can take these two yet that are in this field of view that we can see.
I would argue that he doesn't need to either.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he could just continue, just like you said about his trading.
Right.
He could continue to trade very carefully against the remnants of Ulm while he keeps his significant forces prepared for the coming up, attack from Vanheim.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he's slowly bleeding Ulm out, making Ulm give up on counter raiding, and I mean honestly, like kind of the best way to play is, I mean not always, but like a lot of times it's if people want to keep their armies in their forts, so like patrol like if Ulm is like all I can control is these 3 forts here, these 4 forts, like okay, peace, I'll go take the other stuff, like.
Well,
you keep your armies until later.
I just finished up a game. Just ended for me playing Bandar, but I got Dryad Mothers as an independent. So it's the first serious run of Dryad Seduction I've played in quite a long time. And I have to say, like, one of the things about taking on and off sieges is then it lets your Dryads do their job.
Right.
So putting a siege on, pulling it off, putting it on, pulling in, putting it on. Sorry, I'm fumbling a bit on my words there.
Yeah.
But that's not bad. So
Yep.
every second turn, you can bring a bunch of Dryads in and they won't be patrolled.
Yeah.
And then pull your siege off so then they can seduce.
Great.
And it's a very cost-effective play. It's slow, but when you're talking about efficient resource trading, it's very efficient.
Yeah. And maybe score some smiths.
Right.
So
And just whittle down his mage, because without mage support, he won't win any of these fights.
Right. Oh goodness.
Oh.
All right. So this is the
there's
one.
one of them.
There's the. Oh my
That
god.
was the one you wondered about. Oh.
Oh my god. So
Wow.
this is He's got a core. These aren't black lords. These are black knights. Which,
Yes. Looks like a good sized communion back there.
Yeah. I don't think as Ulm you really, and he, who knows when he made these. As Ulm you really don't want black knights past mid game. They're great early game and like mid game, but in the late game they're just too expensive. Like you'd be better off with black lords with items or something on it. So.
Right. I'm just noticing
these
that's
are mercs
not
up in
very
front.
many. That's not very many blood slaves.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
That is 5 vampires and what, 10,
Yeah.
15 slaves? Yikes.
I mean, the thing is though, is that the quality of troop difference. I mean, this is this doesn't look like a ton of demons. This is a ton of demons. Like,
Oh yeah.
and these storm demons are just gonna shred. Like once darkness goes up, it's over.
Is Storm up?
Oh,
Storm?
yeah, storm's up.
Okay, so
So-
somebody carried a staff of storms.
Oh my gosh. So that was Will of Fates and Army of Gold.
Oh boy.
And all like once if you're fighting Ulm, this is one of the things. Like it's one of the weaknesses of Earth and Fire magic, which is what
And there
Ulm
goes
has.
darkness up.
Is that once Army of Gold comes out, Earth and Fire magic is like heavily nerfed.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
look at the darkness.
and the Ulmish troops don't have magic weapons, and they're dealing physical damage, and they're against stuff that's almost immune to physical damage now, especially with darkness.
Well, even the thralls are going to be hard to kill.
I think Pangaea is going to lose like a few centaurs. I think they're going to lose a couple demons maybe from friendly fire,
Yeah.
but I think that's
Well, and look at the stats on feeds of darkness when they're in darkness like this.
yeah. I mean, they get pretty
their
ridiculous,
stats just go through the roof.
right? And you have to take this in conjunction with like the people they're fighting. Like these knights are like 8-8.
Yeah.
Like it's 8 attack
Oh.
versus 15 defense. Like it's almost never
Yeah.
gonna hit. And then
so
to kill
creeping
them,
doom
they
out
have to
there.
get through luck too now. So it's like forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a stack wipe.
Yeah. I think
did
this
you
is
see
like
the
the
Iron
thing is
Blizzard
that
there?
like Ulm has all these like I was thinking about this earlier today. If you're fighting at a handicap where you can never fight anybody's doom stack, that is like such a hard handicap. And Ulm basically has had that handicap for so long. He hasn't been able to win a single doom stack fight for so long in the game. And like if you can't do that, you're just in such trouble. Because then it's like, what do you do with these big, like these medium large armies? Like what do you do with them? Like you have to.
Well, I commented back when he lost his elemental royalty, when he used them as thugs, and that would have been a pretty critical thing he needed for army buffing,
Yeah.
those elemental royalty. And it looks like he's never been able to get them back.
Right.
Somebody might have stole them on him after he lost them.
Yeah, he lost a couple Centaur Cataphracts, one Fiend of Darkness, and then otherwise, like, Chaff.
Yeah.
Right, he didn't lose a single
Well,
Storm
yeah.
Demon. Look at the kills on the Storm Demons here.
Well, look at the thralls.
Yeah,
He only lost 8 thralls,
yeah,
and they're garbage.
they're garbage. So, and this is just a wipe. I mean, I think the things you have... There's some things that are, like, really bitter pills to swallow as Ulm. If you're going to be fighting and planning on using normal troops and you're fighting into a Blood Nation or whatever, like a Dark Vision Nation, like, and you have Astral, like you had these Shamans, you have to
Right.
cast Solar Brilliance. It sucks, but you have to.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise you throw the army away. And then once I think that for him, if you get, like for this Ulmish army, and he might have even had a lot of the tools to do it, but like you get Solar Brilliance up, Anti-Magic up, Will of Fates, Weapons of
And the one
Sharpness. Weapons of Sharpness is huge. And Ground Army. And then Mass
the one thing
Regen.
he's obviously missing here is cleansing water.
Well, that's
he
not
didn't-
really
he
an
didn't have
Ulm
any-
thing. Yeah.
No, I know, but in a really long game like this, it's just about mandatory to get yourself all 8 paths.
Yeah. No, I mean...
It's really
yeah,
tough.
But Cleansing Water is like a... Oh, you mean Demonic Cleansing. Do you?
Demonic cleansing, not cleansing water.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
demonic
You're
cleansing.
right. He's missing that too. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if he had Will, and we'll see what buffs he actually got. I'm interested to see what these shamans are doing. If he had Will of Fates, Solar Brilliance, Demonic Cleansing, Anti-Magic, Mass Regen. Is this an Ivy Lord? Okay, this is an Ivy King. What is he casting?
Yeah, mass regen would have been pretty helpful.
Especially
I wonder
with
if
Will
the
of
Ivy-
Fates. God, these Storm
The
Demons are
Ivy Kings-
relentless.
The Ivy King's just throwing up creeping dooms.
Serpent's Blessing, but interrupted,
Oh.
and then Creeping Doom. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's also something to say for putting copper plates on dudes so they don't have that happen.
Or copper plates or storm spools.
Yeah.
Or if you have earth, lightning rods,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, that's a great solution to give to a mage,
But with
especially when you're facing storm demons.
yeah, I mean with I think this. I don't know if he could have won this doing what I said, but he could have come pretty close.
But it would have required a broader selection of magi.
Maybe. I mean,
He had some
you
of them.
know, he like Mass Region, Will of Fates, Light of the. I mean, whatchamacallit,
Anti-magic.
well, Anti Magic, Solar
Light
Brilliance,
of the Northern Star. Yeah, Light of the Northern Star.
Mass Region, Weapons of Sharpness, Army of Gold, Ground Army.
Army of Gold, Weapons of Sharpness, yes.
And
absolutely.
maybe versus you don't do Army of Gold. Maybe versus this you do Mass Protection, and then you just do Ground Army to save on some of the shock damage. But
yeah, maybe.
you can put a pretty good hurting on these guys, and maybe like some chaff generation thing, like one of the howl like spells. You know, it's possible. But this is just
could be, and we could be like we've talked about. I think there's some serious player fatigue going on in these late turns.
Right.
I mean, some of these turns were extended 2 and 3 weeks.
Right.
People are just
and it's
tired
like, how much can you ask of him when he has an unwinnable position? But you know, as casting, it's worth talking about like what you can do to like fight these big doom stacks. So
yeah, I don't think we're being harsh here. We're just, some of these options could make a difference, but his situation is desperate.
Yeah, I would say it's hopeless now. But yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. Like, if Pan lost this army, like if everything here died, it would be a setback for sure. He'd be like, "Dang it!" But it wouldn't change the strategic course of the war. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of why I was curious. Just, is Ulm going to be able to stay alive long enough to let this coalition that's building have a chance of stopping the scary possibility of Pangaea grabbing a few more thrones?
Yeah, and
can we look at we look at graphs?
Sure. We'll come back and look at Ashdod in a second. So
yeah, absolutely. But I just wanted to do a quick glance. I mean, look at the army size difference there.
Yeah. Nobody, Ulm lost. We can see Ulm losing an army, but we don't. Ashdod's holding steady. Pan's gaining a little bit. Very stable provinces. Pan is running. This is how you know the game is getting close to ending. When the number one player is starting to get coalition, he starts running away like this. It's bad things are about to happen. So, and yeah, I mean, he's got now as many provinces as the next two players combined, maybe 3.
Yeah. Yeah, close to it.
So,
and his income looks like it's greater than all of them combined.
Right. Forts, he's number 1 by a bit. Income, he's number 1 by a bit. Gym income, number 1 by a lot. Yeah.
Not much to see there.
Did we have any globals go up?
I didn't see any.
Yeah, right now just Pan with 4 of the globals and Vengeful Water. There is an open global spot, I believe. I think there's an empty spot down here, so we'll have to see what happens with that.
I wonder where that came from. Somebody's caster got killed.
Ulm's...
Did we miss that last turn?
Let's take a look. We'll go back. So it's turn 112. So if we...
Just quickly, just glance at global.
Yeah. Let's just see if it happened then. Yep. Earthblood Depot went down.
Yeah. Okay. So the caster probably got killed.
Yeah.
Seduced or killed or.
So that probably was. I mean, it could have been Astral Corruption, is my guess.
It's possible.
We'll just go through here and make sure if we see any. Oh, so this was a soulless conversion here. I don't see Ulm.
Unless it was in that fight we watched.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. No, it wasn't there.
Unless it was a Master Smith, but that's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I think it got killed by a horror.
Yeah. Anyways, that's fairly significant. And not very significant for Ulm because at this point in time, I doubt that Earthblood Deep Well was making a big difference. But a free slot is an opportunity, particularly for Pelagia.
Yep. I would not be surprised at all if Pelagia says, that's it. We're doing all in on Nexus this turn. Because he knows there's a huge casting of Gift of Health, and he would probably like to take the opportunity to put up Nexus without having to bump Gift of Health.
Yeah, overwriting some of these could be really tough.
Right, and Astral Corruption. Now, Astral Corruption, it's going to get the thing where blood overcasts are, discounted by a factor of 2. So, in the deep late game, it's actually, you'll usually win if you bump against the Blood Global. Whereas in the early game or like the mid game, Blood Globals are like, you never want to bump against them. But it's actually... Yeah.
There's a reasonable chance. So,
right.
Yeah, you're talking, even if it's a 999.
Right.
Cast.
Yeah, if Pelagia puts like 700 in it, it's going to override any kind of Astral Corruption.
You take the 150 off that 999, so that puts it at an 850. So that's only 425.
Right.
That's not so big.
Right.
Can't be done.
Right. So, okay, so that's the graphs. Let's see what's happening with Ashdod and Pangaea here. So,
yes,
Pangaea has just been mercilessly raiding Ashdod, and a lot of this, I think, we can trace all the way back to Ashdod really started this war with Pangaea without a plan to kill him or do significant damage. And as we can see, he's just getting isolated here, right? Like this throne is, or this, Nabaa is now getting isolated. Just the Pangaean raiding pressure is immense. This was the stack that Ashdod was saying he softened up with some
Ghost Riders
to try to gym bait, but it doesn't look like this stack moved on to this fort, which was perhaps what he was expecting.
I think that's what he was talking about. That's how I read it. And maybe it did slow it down, but we'd have to watch it to see how many gems were spent.
Right. I think Ashdod is wanting Pangaea to play his game. He wants Pangaea to take a big, important stack and to run it at one of his big armies. And Sai is not going to do that. Sai knows that he will probably lose a Doomstack battle with Ashdod. So he's generally being pretty low commitment in the areas. Look at this, right? So this is Nabaa, right? This is a Doomstack here. Ashdod doesn't want Pangaea to have it. But Pangaea is not even really putting anything high commitment that he would cry about.
Yeah, a single tart.
In an adjacent tile. Ghosts. Right? Because this army could move out. If it moves out, he doesn't want to lose something that he would be very upset about.
Yeah. Yeah, these are pretty low commitment raids.
Right.
That's maybe 5 ghosts, I'm guessing. A single tart down below it, 20 or so storm demons.
Right. Because Pangaea really could throw this away. Pangaea could be okay, we've got the the sword on top of the anvil, let's smash it, right? And he just takes this huge stack and just blasts at Nabaa, or this Ashdod fort, and Ashdod could just destroy it. And losing, while it seems okay, this is Pan's game to lose, losing 2 or 3 big doom stacks would mean that Pangaea might not have anything in this theater of war to now contest any of the Ashdod doom stacks at all. And Ashdod could then start walking around taking infrastructure while trying to do something on the raiding back end. But right now, because all these doom stacks exist, Pangaea can field these low and medium commitment armies that are going to be very difficult for Ashdod to raid to counter raid efficiently.
Yeah, so, look at that. Eight ghosts.
Right.
And a lich.
And this is so hard to kill.
Yeah.
Because you got storm demons, so good luck thugging that. You got skelly spam, you got armor piercing ghost attack with fear. And so look, right by the time the PD, because you can imagine there was more PD here, by the time they get there, the skeletons are already up here, and the ghosts are now closing in.
Mm-hmm.
The risk of this is that somebody snipes the lich. Because that would be the way to, an air elemental maybe, or
a soul slayer or something. Yeah. Or even a mind hunt.
Right. Okay, this is interesting. So this is a Pangaean tart.
Oh. Okay.
No pass. Feeble-minded even.
Okay. So he's just using a few demons to do the job.
And a sizable amount of PD from Ashdod and a vampire. The guys jump on the vampire. They're probably scripted to attack rear.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's just dead. He's just dead. And so now it's a bunch of demons versus PD. And demons, you can kill them with PD.
Yeah.
Especially with these big, beefy dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't handle being swarmed very well.
But this guy, they have fear.
Yeah.
This guy's an HP sink. So even though all the devils have died, all the HP on this tart is keeping this side from running. And so the Fiends of Darkness are still hanging out. And the armies are at it now with fear. So this was a lot of PD. This was 29 PD. And a vampire lord.
I lost about the last minute of what you said, but probably not a huge issue.
I was just saying, we
just had a delay there.
Okay. So it's just it's a lot of PD. It's 29 PD, and Pangaea ekes through taking it, but I mean, this is a sizable investment from Ashdod, and it's gone now.
That's correct.
Just the pressure. This is not Horde from Hell. This is one of the summons of, or maybe it's. Do you get a Devil Commander? You don't get Devil units if you do Horde from Hell, but you do get a Devil Commander. Is this Infernal Forces?
No.
Yeah. No. Infernal Forces, you don't get the Blood Command or the Commander, right?
You don't get the Devil Commander. No,
right.
Only Horde. So that's a past cast of Horde reinforced with some Devils.
Okay.
Which is one of the best uses of Horde from Hell, is to give you some flying undead commanders.
Yeah.
It's one of the best parts.
It really is. And you can even thug those guys out too.
Not badly.
Yeah.
Although usually I need them more to, move demons around.
Okay,
there always seems to be a need to move demons around.
Yeah, that's true. Here we can see Sinless Horror coming out from Pangaea. If there's one thing I want to leave you with, if you can learn one thing from Sai playing Pangaea here, and it's just the diversity of the threat vectors. Yes. Counter-raiding Sai when he's attacking you like this is so freaking hard. Right? Because you don't know what he's going to send at you. So how do you put something that's going to efficiently defend against these tarts and a devil and these devils, or this lich and ghosts, or a squad of a vampire lord with some Maenad chaff, some white centaurs and storm demons, or it's just so diverse, and that is so important because you don't know what's going to any given province, so you have to put something. If what you put is good against the only thing they use, great. It's easy to counter raid. If what you put is good against 2 out of the 6 things that they're sending, you have a 4 in 6 chance of getting your ass kicked in counter raiding.
Well, I think you bring up another point, sort of within that discussion, is that really top players are going to constantly switch around. They'll switch scripts a bit. They'll switch which way they do things. They'll try a different. And some of that's just a case of keeping people off balance, which is exactly the same thing.
Right.
Just a little bit different way. And in the case of Pangaea here, he does have the unbelievably broad resources because he's got independence of every.
Right.
He's been stealing all kinds of magi from almost everybody else in the game. So he's Smiths and he's got Van Jarls and, so he's just got this tremendously broad selection of tools. And I personally find that sometimes overwhelming when it's so broad.
Yeah. And he's being stingy, he's not overcommitting. He's trying to do light, diverse budget things. And that is proving very overwhelming. And we're also getting to the point now where Pangaea is, as big as the next 2 players, maybe 3 players combined, and just the economy of that is really hard. And meanwhile, who's fighting him? Ulm and Ashdod versus Pan alone, and Ashdod's beat up. Like, this isn't even the Ashdod of 10 turns ago. This the Ashdod after he got his ass kicked by Vanheim when he kept pushing too hard, or they couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, my prediction now would be pretty firm on how this game's going to go.
Yeah. So I think, there's some very light rating happening in the back line here.
There's some...
notably, we also don't see Pelagia contributing much. He was doing a magic duel here, I think.
Yeah, did it work? It looks like it did.
It doesn't look like it did. We probably have different RNG now, but...
Oh, true.
Oh, he's casting Soul Slay instead.
There was nothing there to magic duel.
Oh.
Unless I missed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Nope, there was nothing to magic duel.
Yeah.
There's a golem. That's the only astral mage.
But you can't magic duel golems. No. So.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what he was going for. Maybe there was Arco wouldn't have done it if there was something there last turn. He probably snuck it out or something.
Yeah. Must have been stealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, ghoul, a golem.
But I think Arco's probably also like the game is gonna start to narrow because just look at this turn, like the score graph. Like this is like ridiculous. Like on one hand, I was just commenting like it's like plot. It's awesome. He's saving for Nexus. On the other hand, like he like these turns are so important to put pressure on Pangaea. I don't know what he's going to put pressure on him with. Right? To be fair to Pelagia, they got gang attacked for like many turns. Right? Mm-hmm. Had all of their resources beaten out of them. Were kicked off land. Nexus finally went down due to bad RNG. And then, like, I don't know what resources he would do to, like, pick at Pangaea, but he's not doing anything right now. And these are, like, the critical... not the critical. Like, these are, like... We're, like, 2 or 3 stops past the last stop of the bus.
Yeah, I think most everything is too little too late by now.
Right. But...
This realization they had to do something about Pan came late.
Right.
Very late.
Yeah, but, Ashdod is really just alone in this right now.
Yeah, we're thinking we've got 4 more turns after this one before there's really going to be a shift.
And I mean, it does maybe make sense for Pelagia to bank up some resources and go and attack when Vanheim's ready.
Yeah.
Like I can see that too. Like he'll have Nexus up by then, hopefully. Vanheim's ready. Well, they lay into him. The question is like, what kind of shape is Ashdod going to be in? And in some ways, like it makes sense for maybe Ashdod to not overcommit these big armies, and wait till Vanheim's ready to really like commit the big armies. Maybe as like Pelagia and Vanheim start swinging at him again, Pangaea will have to reroute some of these armies, and he won't have to fight all of them. But
maybe, I
mean, if we look at his province graph for Ashdod, it's not been a good 2 turns.
It's tanking, and he's got to be getting close to. He's got to be getting close to running out of money, if not there already.
And I mean, there's like gold money, and then there's precious human lives money, and I think his blood economy is tanking now too. I mean, and I mean, if you're an ethical person, that would probably be a good thing for the blood economy to be tanking.
But look at some of the unrest he's got. Well, that province isn't good enough to hunt, really.
I mean, we know the blood hunting provinces. It's this one and this one, but I think he had more in this one. No.
Yeah, he's still got. Oh, there's an army that failed. So it came up against patrol staff.
So fire elemental, strength of Gaia,
charm. See,
Storm of Thorns.
Ooh, smock. Whoa.
Yeah, that didn't go well for them. That's funny.
Man, those sheds in Sayer, they hit hard.
I think his blood economy now is like, it's his cap. Oh no, he's not blood handing his cap. It doesn't look like he should though. But he's got
now he probably should.
That and this is you can barely blood hunt. It's 3,000. This one's 3,000. I mean, he has this one's 3,000. all his blood hunting provinces are 3,000. So that means they're like half efficiency. So he's really got like, it says 4 provinces. It's really like 3.
I wonder if, which we couldn't see, I wonder if Pangaea's been bombing him with population killing spells.
Probably not. I don't think. I mean, all
These
this
are
land is a
small.
Pangaean timeshare too.
Yeah, well,
he's been blood hunting
this
it all game, and it's Armageddon. So.
Oh, right, Armageddon. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, that's where the pop loss occurred.
But yeah, I mean, his blood. I bet you his blood income right now is like probably not even 100. I bet you it's like 75 a turn.
It was probably shrunk to next to nothing. Yeah,
and I think that's another thing about like declaring war on Pangaea too early is like when the Pangaean raiding pressure comes out, it's going to put a hurting on your blood economy, right? And
from his peak, how much has he gone down in provinces from his peak of provinces?
A lot. Like 30%.
30 to 40%. Yeah, that's a lot of blood hunting going.
But it's not just the provinces, right? Because like even if you're trading, well, you know, like when Ashdod declared war, never did the war come over here. Like never was it like Pangaea was down land from Ashdod declaring war on them, right? So the Pangaean blood economy was never impacted by the Ashdod war. So, you know, there's something to say for like picking the war at the right time. And if you're not ready to fight, like if you don't have a plan to get up in their stuff and you want to run a blood economy, like having them get up in your stuff can be kind of annoying. Anything you think we should look at before we call this one?
Not really. I think the takeaways are it's pretty significant that a global dropped.
Right.
Pan kind of has free reign to do whatever he wants with Ulm. And the war against Ashdod, as you summed up, is going very well in Pangaea's favor. So he can kind of take it easy. Not take it easy. He'll stay very, very busy. But he doesn't have to overcommit right now. You brought that up yourself.
Right. Oh.
And can afford to wait.
Final thing is the city-state of Debrythia is finally being attacked by Pangaea.
There we go. Finally.
Right. And he's probably wondering if this Ashdod army is going to come try to knock him off, which I think it should. Right? Like this, if you're in Ashdod's position, you're given the other thing is this might be, we know Ashdod has been manipulating army size with army size items. Yeah. This could be a fake army, but if it's a real army, he should come try to knock him off.
But I think we commented that I thought he should have taken that province a long time ago.
Yeah, he should have. Just
for the sake of controlling that border and because it's been available to take for 40 turns?
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you, Marilyn, for joining me.
You are most welcome. Yes. See everybody soon.
Take care, folks.